Colin, you have taken on a lot of roles in your life, but I have to imagine being a three-time cancer survivor has to be the most challenging and most serious role of your life.
Yeah, it's one of the, as an actor, we take on these roles all the time, but this third time really was life altering and changing. And at now 52 years old, being told you have cancer for the third time, it really makes you think deeply about what's important in life, who's important in your life. And through the past few weeks, I had surgery almost 2 months ago. And the people that have showed up in my life to support me through this have been absolutely incredible. I mean, you yourself were able to come out this weekend, and throughout this whole experience, I've been able to spread the message of, guys, get tested. PSA testing for prostate cancer is easy. Women, get your breast exams, because breast cancer and prostate cancer are the two most diagnosed cancers in the world. And with early detection, much like in my case, it's very curable. And the percentage of curable rate for prostate cancer, if early detected, is 97%. And so in my case, because I had testicular cancer roughly 15 years ago, I've been doing my regular checkups, and this is really essentially it's what's saved my life.
Take me through the timeline of the types of cancer you've had and the years you were diagnosed.
Yeah, so in 2006, when I booked my role on All My Children, I thought it was like the most exciting time of my life. I'd been a struggling actor for a few years and finally had this 3-year contract. And 6 months into my contract, I was diagnosed with testicular cancer. And I was 32 years old. And for a doctor to tell you you have cancer, it's this kind of out of body experience. It's like you always kind of think like, well, that happens to other people. I'm healthy. I eat healthy. And so it just goes to show you that cancer it doesn't discriminate. And no matter how well you take care of yourself, it's important to make sure you're getting these testings. And I had to have a surgery, radiation treatment, and I was going for my checkups every 3 months. Found out on the essentially a year later that it had come back on the other side. So just full disclosure, it's guy stuff. So I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to tell anyone at work, at all my children. I was afraid of, am I going to get let go? Or like, I had to bank my sperm if I ever want to think about having kids again. And so having these life altering decisions that you have to make at, 32, 33 years old, it's life altering. But at the same time, what it did for me was really look introspectively and decide, what do I want my life to be about? And I never want to have regrets in life. I never wanted to be at a place in my life where I was like, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I would have done that. So I don't wish cancer on anyone. But what it does is it creates an urgency in your life that if you want to do something, go do it, because tomorrow is not promised. And I think sometimes we get into this lull of thinking, well, I'll do it next year, or I'll do it, when I have the money or whatever. No, the time is now. Make sure you do the things that you care about in life, that you're passionate about. And that's the message I've been trying to spread.
Yeah, so 2006, testicular cancer, 2007, it comes back. And then what
Yep.
about this last bout?
And then November 2003, I was just going for my regular checkups, and my doctor did a blood test, tested for PSA, and it's just a easy blood test, and they said it was elevated, and that we should monitor it because sometimes it can have a false positive. And so I got it tested 6 months later, and it was still elevated. And at that point, they recommended doing a biopsy. And so I was like, man. And so I reluctantly went ahead and did the biopsy. And I think a lot of people at this point will just hope that it goes away. But this is where you've really got to be honest with yourself and courageous and do the thing that is the right thing to do, because it's not just about you. It's about your family. It's about the people that you care about. And I went in and did the biopsy. They found that there were some cancerous cells in my prostate. And because prostate cancer is a slow moving cancer, they said I had about 5 years where I had to decide to do something, whether that was radiation pellets or having the surgery to completely remove the prostate. But the thing is, with the surgery, it's a lot of replumbing down there. It's reconnecting, how you go to the bathroom and having to learn how to do that again, and doing Kegel exercises and physical therapy. And then also the nerves that control erectile guy stuff wrap around the prostate. So they have to go in and very carefully cut the prostate out and not damage the nerves. But in that process, the nerves still get, what they tell me is, they get shocked a little bit. So they go to sleep. And it takes about 6 months for that stuff to wake up. So they prescribe Viagra or Cialis as a protocol to wake it up down there. And just to be fully transparent, that's what's going on. So it's a lot of stuff that, you don't really hear people talking about. And I think it's important to talk about this and make it not such a stigma, to be able to feel like as a guy, you can just openly talk about this stuff, because it's essentially what, again, has saved my life.
I think you said November 2003, but you mean November 2023.
Or sorry, 2023. Yeah. And so after taking about a year to just look at my options, I talked to a lot of different doctors. Radiation pellets weren't an option for me because I had radiation, 15 years ago. And so they just thought the best option for me at 52, most men actually get prostate cancer later on in life in their like 60s and 70s. So actually most men die with prostate cancer rather than from it. But because I was diagnosed at 52, they said that so that I wouldn't have to worry about it and worry about having to constantly think about this. And they said the best option for me, they recommended actually doing the surgery. So after talking to so many different doctors over the past year and a half, I finally elected to have the surgery January 9th of this year. And since then, I'm, almost 2 months out. And honestly, I feel great. I'm recovering pretty quickly. And thank God that there's no signs of cancer. So I was designated cancer-free 2 weeks ago in my latest checkup. So super excited about that. And ready to just get back to life.
Yeah. What was it like hearing those words? You're cancer-free.
It's surreal, because a part of me tried to compartmentalize my feelings about all of this, because it can be very scary. And so it was a mixture of like elation, relief, but it's been coming out in spurts where I've been trying to just regulate my emotions so I don't get too overwhelmed by all of this. And on Saturday at the Home Run for Life, where I got to walk out on the field, and the LA Dodgers were lined up on the third base side, San Francisco Giants on the first base side. As I walked out onto the field, because City of Hope Hospital does this event every year they honor one of their patient clients who's gone through their treatment. And it's a way to honor the doctors as well, and just to create awareness around cancer awareness and testing. When I walked out onto the field, man, I mean, you were there. It was hard to hold back those emotions, because a lot of times to be able to get through something, you just sometimes push all these emotions down. But it's important to get them out, because if you bottle up your emotions, that can lead to all kinds of just disassociation and physical psychosomatic stuff that you just don't want to be having to deal with. It's important to be able to talk about it and to release these emotions. And Saturday was an amazing way to do that.
I saw Dodgers manager Dave Roberts give you a big hug. What did he say?
He actually said, "Congratulations, brother. I'm a survivor myself." And I said, "Really?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, congratulations to you." And I said, "Good luck this year." And he was incredibly encouraging. And it's more common than I think a lot of people really realize. And just to, when he said that, it was just further encouragement that I'm not alone in all of this.
Yeah, you've been so public, and you've been so open on your social media, sharing some things that some people would say, "Hey, I couldn't do that. I couldn't share, having to wear a diaper or things that you've had to deal with." But what has made you have the courage to do that?
Yeah, it's a good question. The first time that I was diagnosed back in 2006, as I mentioned, I didn't want to tell anyone. I just wasn't sure of what people would say. I didn't want people to be talking about that, and knowing that there was something wrong with me. But in that process of bottling it all up, I just felt alone and scared. And I feel like the more that we can talk about this and the more that we can be there for each other when we are experiencing these kinds of things, whether it's a health issue or any other stuff that we're dealing with in life. I think it's important that you let people know in your life and that care about you know what you're really going through so that they can be there for you. I think there's a unwritten rule for men where we got to just, you know, take it on ourselves and figure it out. And, you know, if we ask for help or be vulnerable, then it's not manly. But I've realized that the manly thing to do is to be honest about your emotions and to ask for help when you need it. And that's why this time around, you know, like you mentioned with these diapers, you know, for a few weeks after the surgery, you have to wear, there's a catheter, and so that you got to deal with that for 5 days, and then after that, the depends undergarments. And I think the best way to approach all of this is with a little bit of levity and a sense of humor, and be like, "Yep, this is what it is," and I mean, that's just part of the journey.
Yeah, you've been very grateful to not only your friends and family, but also to the doctors that took care of you at City of Hope.
They were incredible. The whole staff and the team of doctors and nurses, and they've got a cancer fighters program that supports all their patient clients. I'm actually leading a 90-day cancer fighters program coming up here in April, based on my I've got a daily journal. It's an empowering daily journal called the Agile Artist 90-day manifestation playbook. And so we're going to be doing 90 days of empowered goal setting, because a lot of this cancer journey is a mental mindset game. You know, people say like, Colin, you're so courageous and you're so brave. And, you know, and honestly, the doctors are the ones that do all the work. I mean, basically you show up, they put you under, and then the doctors are the ones that do the surgery. And then when you wake up, obviously from there, it's the mental game of not letting this discourage you and be frustrated. And trust me, I've been plenty of times where I've broken down in frustration and fear and worry about, well, am I ever going to be able to have sex again? And am I, going to the bathroom? Am I going to be, you know, peeing myself, for the, there's all these questions that come up. And it's important to really have a strong mental mindset. And as an athlete and coming from, playing baseball and football growing up, a lot of what I relied on was a lot of the mindset principles that you hear from coaches, and that's why I'm really into personal and professional development, and that's really helped me get through a lot of this.
You said there was a part of you that didn't want to show that you were scared or you wanted to be tough, but how scared were you?
You know, it's a really good question. I think more so than anything, the fear of just the unknown and not knowing what is going to be in store. I think we take for granted what we really have in life, and to be able to just go out and enjoy life. And I think a lot of times when we take that for granted, we focus on things in life that not necessarily are not important. It's just that this experience has made me realize the real important things in life, which are, what purpose do I want to have in my life? What impact do I want to have on people? So that if I were to pass away, I know that I lived my life to the fullest. And I think the most important thing you can do is you can either focus on the negative or you can focus on the positive. And I think it's very easy to focus on all the negative and the bad things and the cancer but it's a simple choice. It's not easy, but it's a simple choice of focusing on, even though I may not have a whole lot of time here on this planet, because we're all going to die at some point. I think it's important to focus on cherishing those moments that you have with the people that you care about. Go take that vacation, go tell the people in your life that you love them, because you may not have that second chance. And I don't mean to scare anyone, but the reality is that again, we're not all going to be here forever. And I think the worst thing in life is to be further on in age and look back at your life and say, I wish I would have done this, or I could have done that.
I know actors love sequels, but this trilogy is complete, isn't it?
I hope so. But that being said, this experience I think every experience you have in life, whether good, bad, or, ugly, I think it prepares you for further experiences in life. And having gone through this now a third time, this is why I think it's important to share my experience and some of the mindset stuff that has gotten me through the first three times to other people who may be going through the same thing, and letting them know that you're not alone, and to stay positive and stay focused on the things that are important in life.
Thank you, buddy. Congrats on
Thanks,
that.
Ryan.
Full of health, man.
Appreciate it.
Watch breaking news on YouTube. Subscribe to ABC7 Chicago Eyewitness News.